Thank you. I would like to adopt the protocol that has already been so well articulated by our co-hosts. The OECS Secretariat is very pleased to be associated with UNICEF in the convening of this midterm review and consultation of the multi-country program for Barbados and the member countries of the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States for the period 2008 to 2011 under the very appropriately chosen theme, Rethinking the Agenda for Children. It is an undeniable fact that Barbados and the member countries of the OECS have, over the years, made significant investments in programs and initiatives directed at children and young people in our region. On education alone, our countries spend over 6% of their gross domestic product and well over 15% of the total government expenditure. At the regional level, the OECS and CARICOM, with tremendous support from development partners such as UNICEF, have also been able to mobilize significant resources for the improvement of the lives and well-being of children and youth in our region. However, despite these significant inputs, children and young people in our region continue to be confronted with major challenges. Tomorrow, in a presentation entitled Issues Impacting Children in the Eastern Caribbean, I will discuss in some detail these challenges and the effects they are having on our children and their families. So hopefully, without diminishing the thunder of that presentation, allow me to state briefly 5 of the critical areas to which I believe we must pay closer attention as we rethink the agenda for children in the Eastern Caribbean. The first area is the role of our education system in providing our children with the necessary building blocks and the competencies they need to survive and succeed in a rapidly changing world. And on that area, one area that is of particular significance to UNICEF is the issue of early childhood development and early childhood education. And a startling statistic is that over 50% of the children in our region between the ages of 0 and 5 do not benefit from early childhood education. The second area involves the social protection mechanisms that we need to utilize to provide support and buffers for the more vulnerable and at-risk children in our communities. As we reshape the agenda for the development of our children, we are compelled to pay closer attention to health issues, with particular emphasis on the impact of chronic non-communicable diseases, the #1 killer in our region. Childhood obesity is an ever-increasing and ever-serious problem for all of us, and of course the continuing threat posed by HIV and AIDS. The fourth issue on which we must focus is the significant effect that the impacts of climate change can and will have on our children. The decade of 2000 to 2009 was the hottest ever decade recorded by our planet. 2005 was the hottest ever year recorded by our planet. And I was just listening to the news and I heard that that month of May that just passed was the hottest ever for Florida, for Miami. So it's an undeniable fact that climate change is real, despite all of the discussion and debate over the statistics and the data. And climate change can have a very serious and profound impact on our lives, on our livelihoods, and particularly on our children's livelihoods. And this is something that we must prepare for. And the final critical component is one that has of late been engaging the minds of some of our governments. And that is the role that popular culture plays in shaping the minds, attitudes, and behaviors of our children and young people. The environment in which our children and young people are growing and developing is changing quickly and profoundly. Gone are the days when Sesame Street, The Electric Company, and The Cosby Show dominated the viewing schedules of our children. Now it is other types of television programs that keep their attention. As radical as it may have been for my parents to deal with 3 decades ago, the message in the music that moved me was Bob Marley's chant to chase them crazy ballheads out of town. Now our children are encouraging song by their icon, Busy Signal, to work gals, buzz guns, smoke weed, count G's. Where Ludos and Snakes and Ladders ruled playtime 30 years ago, or Monopoly and Pac-Man 20 years ago, the games most frequently played by our children and youth today carry names like Grand Theft Auto, Killzone, Doom, Resident Evil. My friends and I spend most of our free time as children outdoors playing softball, cricket, and marbles, while our children spend all of their free time indoors on PSPs, Xbox 360s, and the internet. Our children have acquired more virtual friends by the age of 15 and communicate with them very regularly than we have acquired by the age of 40 or 50, and we very seldom communicate with our friends. The problem, however, is that while these dramatic changes have taken place and continue to evolve, we have, by and large, continued to deliver programs the same way we did 30 years ago. Many of our policymakers do not even know that many of these issues exist. It is still a cause of wry amusement to me that our customs officers are trained and compelled, as they rightly should be, to confiscate Playboy magazines at our borders, while our children can gain unimpeded 24/7 access to very hardcore pornography on their cell phones via GPRS and 3G networks. Ladies and gentlemen, if we are truly to rethink the agenda for children in the Eastern Caribbean, we have to realize that we must change the lens through which we see their world. The lens that we have been using was good for the period of the 1970s, the 1980s, and the 1990s, but it needs some serious readjustment for our new era. We made significant strides in the post-independence period, fashioning small island developing states that are politically stable and economically and socially progressive. However, times have changed, and this midterm review and consultation provides us with the opportunity to reflect on the progress we have made in improving the well-being of our children, critically assess the challenges that lie ahead, and most importantly, agree on new approaches that will build in us not just the resilience to withstand current and future shocks, but also the capacity to take full advantage of the exciting opportunities provided by this dynamic global environment. The OECS Secretariat looks forward to working with our member states, UNICEF, and our other development partners, and the wider CARICOM region in charting the way forward for children and their families in our region. I thank you.